to ask yes no questions to your heart and feel the answer fully, and take more time in these questions, because everything is a yes no choice. And so the more that you follow the right yeses and the right nos, the more you're going to align with your divine plan, because the divine plan is in your heart, it's in your soul, it's in your higher self.
Welcome back to another episode on Find Joy with Joyan, the podcast that is all about helping you live and lead a life with joy. I'm your host, Joyan Chan, and every Wednesday we are giving you access to the world's best and brightest minds in their fields on our show. Listen in as these leaders impart their wisdom, inspiration, and stories to empower you to live joyfully with intention, passion, and purpose, and celebrate the struggles and overcome the challenges we may face each day with the tools and insights that we are going to share with you. Whether you are looking to improve your relationship, find your passion, learn how to embrace the present moment, deepen your spiritual connection, or learn the magic of manifestation and law of attraction to attract more abundance, this podcast is here to guide you every step of the way. As your host, I am also challenging myself to dig deeper, to learn and unlearn and ride along with you. We are not here to tell you how to live your life, because it is your life. But this life is all that we have right now. So my friend, why not live our life to the fullest? So I hope these conversations and stories will guide and inspire you to live your life to your highest potential, and a life that you are proud of as you continue to grow and evolve in your own journey. So if you are ready to start living a more passionate, purposeful, and joyful life, join us every Wednesday on Find Joy with Joyan for inspirational stories, powerful message, fun conversations, and empowering thoughts with me and my special guests and friends. And now, without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. This episode is sponsored by Get the Law of Attraction. If you have been listening to this podcast, you will know that I am a big believer of the universe and the law of attraction. Get the Law of Attraction is a spiritual and inspirational company that gives you something really good, like chocolate chip cookies, to feed your soul and your mind every single day. They provide daily Instagram posts and reels on the universe, gratitude, spirituality for your headache life. They also have an educational course on the Law of Attraction and Gratitude Journal, and their links are in the show note below. Go to their website and use promo code JOYAN, JOYAN, when you sign up to get $25 off. Our special guest today is the founder of Raw Attraction magazine, the Heart Initiation Academy, and the author of the book My Aesthetic Rebirth, the 10 Keys to Unleash Your Power, Purpose, and Pleasure. He has also put into the True Divine Self map to help people embody their true divine self and align with their true divine plan. And he has spent decades exploring the topics of awakenings, spirituality, relationship, truth, and healing, and helping others navigate their own self-healing and self-growth journey. And in 2015, he was working with a cosmic shamanist in Colorado and working with my higher self, I am consciousness, in a profound way. He's here today to empower you to be more of yourself when you go on this journey to heal your heart. So, guys, help me in welcoming the one of a kind, the man himself, Stephen Jens. Welcome to the show, Stephen. Or is it Steve?
Thanks. Steven, yeah, either works fine for me. And thanks for the introduction. And it's really a pleasure to be on your show. And thanks for inviting me on.
It's my pleasure to have you on the show today, because I can't wait to hear your story. And I always want to know, like, so what got you onto this journey of healing and spirituality? Like, did you also have to, like most people, most guests that come on my show, that I talk to, that hit rock bottom or found themselves in some really dark place, and that was how they found spiritual awakening. So what was it like for you? What brought you onto this journey?
Well, I think I have to take it back to when I was probably a teenager, watching my parents divorce over a period of about 7 years. And it was just a lot of arguments at home. I have three younger brothers, and everyone seemed to be screaming and crying and being angry at each other for 7 years. So this, I didn't realize at the time, but obviously it damaged my nervous system. It damaged me more psychologically than physically, obviously. So I had this psychological damage, and I didn't know how to create a good relationship with a woman, because that's was my intention to be married and have a family. So when I came to my 20s, I was struggling in relationship. I couldn't attract the kind of woman that I want in my life. And then so I discovered that I needed to go on this self healing journey. So there was a lot of pain from that childhood experience that was in the body, in the mind, in the soul, that needed to be healed if I wanted to attract in a partner. I was realizing this as I started the magazine that you mentioned, Raw Attraction Magazine, which was the first magazine for men and women about dating relationships. So I was trying to have this conversation between men and women rather than this separated, angry, divorce like example that I got from my parents, unfortunately. Or fortunately, there was some fortune to it, I think, because I learned a lot from that experience. But I started my own creative endeavors, a podcast of my own, the magazine, the book, which is behind me, and also the Heart Initiation Academy. And all of these things, as well as getting my mentor, helped me start healing that traumatic childhood. And so, yeah, there are any relationship you go into, and I had a relationship. My first real healing relationship happened when I was about 29, 30, and a couple of years there where I was going on an intense healing journey. And all the pain sort of surfaced from my childhood, and I had to heal through a lot. Because that partner in front of you, that mirror, they will always act out your traumas if you allow them to. So you have to, if you want a healed relationship, you have to go on a healing journey for yourself. And yeah, your partner may or may not come with you, but hopefully they will come with you on that healing journey. So it was born out of suffering, this journey, as most, probably all, healing journeys or awakening journeys tend to be. Yeah, and on a general view of culture, I kind of rejected culture at the same time. I didn't like this 9 to 5 kind of job, work lifestyle. So I wanted to create my own things. So I considered myself an entrepreneur, and a creative entrepreneur, to find solutions for not only me but for other people on the journey with my creations.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So, what was the first step that you took that when you decided that you want to go on this journey? Did did you was it a retreat that you attended, or did you hire a mentor? What was the first step? Because for people who are listening, maybe they want to go on this journey and they don't know where to start.
Well, there was a lot of pain in that relationship when I was about 30. So I remember sort of a year into that, as this pain was surfacing within me, I was crying out to the universe. Literally, I remember being on my balcony and looking over Prague at the time, because I live in Prague. And I said out loud, I said, like, please help me, universe. I need to heal myself. I need answers to this pain. I'm 30, 31 years old at that time, and I didn't feel healed, and I felt like I needed to heal. So first, there's an action and an intention that I think people need to take, that they want to heal. Saying that out loud, doing some prayer or affirmation to the universe that you want to be healed, and then things start to come. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what my first healing workshop was, but I remember London in 2013. or 14. It was 2013. I went to a breathwork workshop, and I wasn't really expecting much of it. I didn't know what it was really. I just felt cool to go there. And it was this shamanic breath work with a woman called Elaine, essentially saying to us at the beginning, you're going to go on a journey and have this experience, and something may or may not happen, and you've got to breathe in this specific way, which I think was fast through the nose. I'm not a teacher, so don't try it at home, go to a professional, but I think it was fast through the nose and like out through the mouth quickly. And while she was drumming at the same time, and there was some music on, and I wasn't expecting anything to happen. And then when it did happen, I had all these like a heart activation, or this kind of wolf like energy running through me, and I had my hands out, and I was just feeling this huge ball of energy, and I felt like it was releasing something. It's kind of hard to explain what it was like, but soon after that, I started studying more and researching people like Dr. Peter Levine, who wrote Waking the Tiger, and he talks about how trauma is stuck in the body. We need to release it through various techniques. Breath work can work, body work. I recommend to everyone to find a good body worker that is good at releasing trauma from the body, or Reiki, or acupuncture. There's different modalities, and it's really down to your own heart to tell you where to go. You might feel called to a certain mentor, you might feel called to a certain workshop. There's a lot of healers out there, and I think when you put that intention out to the universe, to God, to the divine, whatever you want to call it, things will start to happen, and you will start feeling called to certain places or people to go and get that healing. I recommend being slow in the process. There's no need to do everything super fast and try, and if you're in a place where you're perhaps starting the healing journey, or new to it, you don't need to heal everything in a week or a month or even a year. Take your time, plan it over a few years, and just be slow with yourself. So yeah, that's kind of what I recommend if you're starting this journey.
I love that. So, okay, I have a few questions, but I'm gonna ask one question at a time. So you talk about going on, for people who are going on this journey or who are new to this journey. Is there anything else that we need to know? Or because I personally, I don't even know, because the truth, I have been on this journey for quite some time. I would say a couple of years now, but I'm still not
Mhm.
seeing progress. Like I'm not seeing any significant results. Like you said, you feel all this energy even just for your very first session. And I've done so many sessions, I have attended so many workshops, I talk to so many people, I do meditate every day, and I'm not feeling anything. Like I just don't feel anything, I don't see any. So what is it that I am not aware of? Or just like, so that is a question that I have as well for people. Obviously you have more experience, and the other question I want to know is how, so what is your modality? Because you also mentioned there are so many kind of different modalities out there. So what is your modality? So how do you help others to heal?
Well, for me, I think I can probably put the two questions into one answer. What I help people do is give people a map of themselves again, because we were born into this world, and I think because of the education systems, and I think there's a word in English called which is didactic, which means intending to teach. I think everything around us is intending to teach us something, and that something might not have your best interests in heart. I grew up in England, so not much of the education system that I got at school was for my benefit. Some of it was, some of it wasn't. And the media and culture, many things are not beneficial, and at the moment it seems like a minority is beneficial. So we have to be aware what is beneficial and what is not beneficial. So one thing we weren't taught in this education system was how to heal ourselves and how to go on a journey and how to kind of map out your inner self in an easy way to understand. And one way I've done this is that it's called the True Divine Self Map, which is essentially 6 parts. So you have the true divine masculine, the true divine feminine, and the inner child on the bottom. And then on the top half, you have the soul, the I am consciousness, which is your higher self, and the great I am, which is God. So God essentially uh, is wrapped around everything, but most people are not having an interaction between their higher self and their soul. That's got disconnected as we came into these bodies and these education systems and this media who doesn't talk about any of these things really. There's only a few people around the world talking about them. And also the healing of the bottom half of this true divine self map needs to start with the inner child. Most of healing that I recommend, you normally need to start with inner child work because I worked with my mentor in 2015, 2016, and one of the first pieces of work we did was I was in a massive trauma with my partner at that time, and you know, I was in a kind of shock phase because of what was going on, and she got on a call with me, did some inner child work, took about 20 minutes, and I could function again because I was kind of non-functioning. I was in such a traumatic stress state that I couldn't function because we all have this inner child, and when it's mature, when it's safe, feels safe, when it's playful, the we can say that the inner child age is around 7 years old. Like it would never go above 7 years old. So if you can get your inner child feeling mature, happy, playful at a perceived age of 7 years within you, then you're there, then you're in a good emotional state. Like nothing can really affect you too much. But most people, less than 1 or 2 years old in their inner child emotional state. So when something triggers them, they revert back to that inner child state, and they're in trauma very easily. So with a focus on the inner child first, raising the inner child age and focusing on them, then we can start to look at other areas of the map. And you really raise the inner child age and the maturity by embodying your true divine masculine, your true divine feminine, which essentially are unconditional love and nurturing love. It's just different ways of saying it. So you focus on these energies, pour it onto your inner child, and then your soul starts to feel better, your heart starts to feel better, and then you, at that point, you can start connecting with your higher self and your I am consciousness, I call it, and working with forgiveness via the higher self is what I do with groups and one-on-one, which allow you to process experiences. So when you have an experience with your partner or a family member or whoever, could be the government or society or whoever it is, you can forgive them, but you do it via your higher self, because that takes care of it, all of it, on a energetic and a soul level, really, because then you don't have to experience the same thing again. A lot of people go around in circles experiencing the same thing over and over because they haven't done the forgiveness rituals and the real inner healing around the experience. So they'll keep experiencing it because the soul needs to kind of note down, in a way. It needs to process the experience via a connection with the I am self, the higher self. In my experience, I think there are other ways of doing it, but it works for me and my clients and my friends that I've taught these things. So the true divine self map is a helpful way of navigating reality, and also the map helps you align with your divine plan, because if we're here to bring down our version of heaven on earth, which is what I call the divine plan, then we have to first, one, believe that exists, which I do, and probably you do, and your listeners do. So we can align with that divine plan, but we have to go on a journey of healing to be able to align with it, and we have to come into integrity with our whole being, and that's a process. So yeah, this is the kind of work I am bringing to people. Yeah, does that answer your question? I know it's quite a lot of new information, probably, but
Yes. My mind is like, oh my god. And because I saw the map on your website, and I just don't know how it works. And you mentioned there is a divine plan and you believe it. I don't believe it as well to a certain extent, but I'm not sure about my listeners. Maybe some don't, some do, and some don't. So
mm.
first, tell us, why do you believe there is a divine plan? Where does it come from? And how do we find out what is the plan for us? When you talk about that, do you mean like life purpose, your soul purpose, or your soul contract? Like the reason we are here this in this lifetime? Or what do you really mean by that? And how do we find out our plan, and if there is one, and how do we align ourselves to that our divine plan?
Yeah, so I think that one of the easiest ways to think about it is that you either, for me anyway, I can only speak for my truth, but for me, you're either on your divine plan or you're not. And you're, say, an average person going through life and not paying any attention to the divine signs that come to you to follow a certain intuitive path that will bring you more happiness with your life and with your soul and with the people around you. So if you're not on the divine plan, then from my experience, you're giving your power away and even your happiness away and your pleasure away to other people. They may or may not be in your life. They might be friends, family, but they might be the government. They might be corporations. They're just taking your energy and using it for their projects. Whereas if you truly, as an individual, as a creator, as a true creator of your own life, start aligning with your purpose, your divine plan, your soul purpose, can be kind of called the same things, just different names, then you create from a place of strength, the power of purpose, of happiness, of pleasure. So therefore it becomes a choice. We're in a free will universe. So now you have, if you at least believe what I just said, that you have a choice to either follow a divine plan, a soul plan, or not, then then you need to make that decision of what you want to do each day, each moment, in every decision. And to align with it more means you have to choose that path every day. You have to get up in the morning and say things similar to what I say is divine plan aligned I am. So you're going out in the world with that intention each day. And obviously you have to have a understanding as a human of what divine is. Divine is bringing in more unconditional love, more integrity, more nurturing love, and more pristine is the word my mentor used to use. These clean energies or clean creations that help and serve the people around you in the highest way possible, so they can feel happiness in their soul with the creations that you're creating. So aligning with your divine plan in the simplest way to start doing it is just to say each day, divine plan aligned I am, and then just write that down, use it as an affirmation or a mantra, and yeah, that helps a lot. So does that make sense? It's just a free will choice. It's that you've got to choose between, I don't know, the normal world or the divine path.
Okay, how do we know whether we are on the right path, that we are on our divine path, or we are not? Like, what is the sign that we could look out for? Is it unhappiness, depression, anxiety?
Um, yeah, I would say it's those things. Those things are showing you to move in a different direction and to seek a solution to heal yourself. I, not to complicate things further, but I recommend that everyone and use kinesiology, so finger dowsing, to ask certain questions to each day to which, you know, direction to go on your path each day. So, I mean, you can ask your heart. Kinesiology is essentially asking your body yes or no questions so that you know which path to take. So, should I make this business deal? Should I, eat this food? Should I go to this place? Should I book this vacation? Whatever it is, you feel into your heart and you feel a yes or a no. So essentially, it's about feeling more to start with. If you don't know kinesiology or dowsing, to ask yes no questions to your heart and feel the answer fully, and take more time in these questions because everything is a yes no choice. And so the more that you follow the right yeses and the right nos, the more you're going to align with your divine plan, because the divine plan is in your heart, it's in your soul, it's in your higher self. And you start connecting with all those things in your heart. So just taking more time instead of living in the head or too much is to drop down into the heart and really feel that yes or no. And that's the best place in your body to feel it. Once you've practiced that a little bit more, you can also learn finger dowsing. It's something that I'm going to have. I don't actually teach it, but I'm going to have my friend, Dr. Doug Lair, who's a cellular resonance therapist. So that's another tool you can use. You have to get essentially very connected with your body and cleanse your body with good nutrition and spring water. If you can drink that, if you can source it from somewhere near you, that's good. But do all the things to cleanse your body as much as you can so that you're getting the right reads from your body, but your heart will ultimately know the answer to different questions. So it's your heart that will lead the way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess to put it simply, I mean, to following your intuition, right? Tap into your
Mm-hmm.
intuition more. Yeah, so this is my own practice right now, is to, like you said, drop into my heart and just feel my heart more and connect with my heart more. Thank you so much for sharing. And now let's talk about relationship, because I know you're an expert in this field and that you have a magazine as well. So you must be an expert in this field, I believe,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
based on what you said as well. So what is your best? Okay, before I ask the question, since we are talking about tapping into our connecting up with our heart, what if someone, how what if someone, they have been hurt deeply, like deeply hurt before in relationship by their ex partner, and now they are built these walls around them, right? And they want a relationship, but they are afraid at the same time, whether consciously or unconsciously, and maybe they don't even know they have built all these walls over the years. So how do they start breaking down the walls and starting to love again, trust again, whether that is loving someone or even receiving love from someone? How do they heal themselves?
Well, the first chapter of my book is it's about self love and self care. So I think this is the foundation that everyone needs to start with. It's it's going there each and every day, and making sure that you're full and that no one around you needs to give you anything externally to validate your feelings or anything like that. That you're taking care of yourself first. So whether that's the foods you eat, or the books you read, or the information that you take in, or the fitness regime you're on, or the therapy that you're choosing because your heart told you to go and do that because it's going to be beneficial to you. Those are the things that I recommend. But part of self love is also knowing boundaries, because it's something that we weren't taught from a young age. Almost everyone, that you know your own boundaries when you're starting to meet new people or dating, and you're kind of clear with them, because then you don't have these arguments where they've gone over your boundaries, they've done something you didn't particularly want them to do, and then you've either had an emotional reaction or you've stopped speaking to that person. So to know your boundaries is also knowing what you want in a relationship and what you want in a partner. So listing those things out of what you want in a new partner, and then knowing that, if you want someone that's self-responsible, which is a highly attractive trait in my opinion, then you have to be self-responsible as well. So even with my partner, we're engaged and getting married next month. That if as a guy, I consider the guy has to lead more in a relationship, because it's like a dance. I dance salsa, and anyone who's learnt a dance knows that, like salsa or tango or something, the male has to lead more than the woman, and I think that's natural in a relationship. So sometimes I have to tell her, okay, I think you need to take some time, go to the forest. She likes to go to the nature, and kind of figure out what's going on for her, if there is something going on. And it's those reminders that I needed, I think, in a relationship, because that we're human. A lot of things are happening in the world and in our lives, and there's a lot of things to process all of the time, and we need that time for ourselves when we go into a relationship. So when you start going into a new dating thing, you need to keep that time for yourself, because you're going to have to manage the things that come up more easily. um don't recommend immediately probably going to live with someone, for example. It's going to be way too much unless you're both with the tools to know how to heal yourselves, and you're spending time to do that. Take things slow when you're meeting someone new, and then you can find your boundaries more easily. These things are really, really important when you're going into a new relationship, which may have caused, you may have had a previous relationship, like you mentioned, that has caused some pain. Yeah, and don't leave some time, obviously, between the previous relationship and the new one. And I mean, you might still meet someone that you like in that time, and you just tell them, look, I need some time, and I'm sure they'll understand if there's some energy there between you. So it's being clear and honest with that new person of where you are at, and allowing them to ask questions, and you answer honestly, and you can ask questions of where they're at, and just being slow and honest, I think, is the best way forward. And just remembering self-love, boundaries, and take responsibility for your own emotions that come up, by spending that time on your own, or with a therapist if you need a therapist, or body work, or whatever it is, to get through the emotions that come up if they're intense. So yeah, you have to navigate things with care. So does that help?
Yeah, most definitely. You have to heal yourself, just like you said earlier in the self love. You have to love yourself before you even love someone else, because you can't give what you don't have, right? And
Mm,
if you could give one piece of advice to all couples who are in a relationship, and by the way, congratulations on your engagement next month.
thank you.
Um, so if you could give one piece of advice to all couples out there, what would it be?
to all couples, just remember to show up each day in love, and like I just mentioned, it's to take that time on your own. If you're not feeling unconditional love running through your body, to take time on your own and figure out why that is, and then come back to the room or the house or the apartment where you live, and then show up in that, show up with your humor and your play, and show up fully, because and show all of yourself, because I think as humans it's a natural thing that we want to be seen fully, and that person who's in your life is the one usually living with you and wants to see all of you, I think, and you want to be seen by them. So showing up in your fun, showing up in your play, and showing up in your love, and just bring it all every single day. I think sometimes, you know, we forget these things. Maybe you might want to have a rest one day a week and not fully bring it every day. But I tend to try and bring everything every day. But I think that's the best advice you can give, because then you're being seen properly and you have a better depth of communication, and you can create the family or the business if you're creating business ideas with each other, or you're creating a life together. So when you bring all of yourself, then you're more likely to create the creation that you want every day and within your family. So yeah, keep being you and keep showing up.
What if you bring all of yourself to that relationship? You know, you just show up fully every day and you don't care or what he or she thinks of you. And what if your partner just doesn't like certain version of yourself? When you bring all to the table, he or she just doesn't like their version of yourself. What do you do?
Well, you have to allow some critique and criticism if it genuinely is affecting their life, where you're in a negative way, where then you have to really take that criticism. You can't just ignore it. For example, you know, if you think bringing yourself every day is drinking 20 beers, then that's probably not going to be a great example to your partner or your family. So that's not what I'm advocating. I'm advocating bringing your the joy of your soul, the playfulness, and but allowing, you know, some critique now and again, if there is some negative impact. If you feel that you're being positive all the time, and you're genuinely trying to help your partner, and they can't accept that, then you need to have some conversation about why. Sit down with them and say, okay, why can't you accept my joy, me wanting to be playful every day? And it may be because they have trauma within in them, that they actually want to be more like you, or more joyful, but it's being suppressed because of trauma. Now that genuinely could be a situation that you're in. So you can't just start an argument with them and say, oh, you don't love me because I'm not, you know, I don't know, as miserable as you, whatever, which might be some conversation that people have sometimes. It's not, you have to allow different alternative truths to be on the table, and that could be one of them, that they, you know, generally they want to be more happy, or they're just having a bad day or a bad week, and there's some other trauma that they didn't know was there, or they haven't talked about with you, or there's something going on in the background that you need to seek out and just have a conversation, a genuine conversation about, okay, um, how can I help? How can I help you be your full self, or at least allow me to be my full self without spoiling your day or something, because there's probably this other trauma going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah. And I want to ask this question. Since you believe in divine plans and um, divine path. Do you also believe in soulmate?
Yes, I definitely would believe in soulmates.
And how would you define that? And how do we know if you have found your soulmate?
Uh, I think what the old cliche "when you know" is kind of true, but there are. I mean, I'm 39 now, and I've met my true partner. I met her 3 years ago, 36. So uh, before then, I would say I perhaps met some people that were soulmates of some kind, even if they were for shorter times. They helped me on my journey. So I don't. I mean, obviously, my partner now is the most important one of my life, but it's important not to kind of dismiss other souls if they're useful and on your journey and provided great reflections for you to learn from. So it depends how you define a soulmate. Uh, Potentially in a divine world, almost everyone could be your soulmate, but then you have one true partner that you stick with. So it depends on the definition. For me, I'm more inclined to say a soulmate is someone that can truly reflect you and love you for who you are consistently on a daily basis, and not want to run away. Like, that seems to be a soulmate, and those people can be, more than one person. I know there's other phrases like twin souls and other things like that, but I do believe in soulmates, and yeah, I do believe that there is one true partner eventually for everyone, and so yeah, it just depends on the definition, really.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, all of us, I believe, all everyone would love to have meet their
Mm.
soulmate in this lifetime. I have no idea, and I will have to know whether it's true or not. The old cliche that when you know, you just know. I have no idea. I have to, I really have no answer to that. So this is why I asked you, because I thought obviously you have found your soulmate and you are the expert in this field. So
Well, I think the best thing to do if you are genuinely seeking your soulmate is do what I did just before I met my partner, and that is put a real strong intention out there, that you're ready, that you're ready to meet your soulmate, and I I believe we're all interconnected, uh, via our souls, via you know quantum mechanics, you could even say, but we're all connected. And so when you say out loud, wherever you are, as a kind of prayer, you say, I'm ready for you, my partner, I'm ready for you now. I'm ready to bring you in my life. Uh, and then quite often, uh, you might have a few people show up at the same time because, sometimes you get some, I don't know what's the best word for them.
test.
The first thing that, sorry, yeah, tests, um, just to see, you know, uh, who is who and who's the one that is with the right integrity for you, and then that one who is meant to be there will stay. So that's how I recommend working with your soulmate in terms of calling them in, and yeah, you'll have to let me know how it goes.
I would love to. I would love to. Yeah, I believe everything starts with an intention. Like you share with
Yeah.
us your journey, story in the very beginning. You just call out to the universe. I'm ready to heal, and I'm ready to meet my
Hmm.
soulmate. I'm ready for this. You really have to show the universe that you are ready, or God, universe, whatever you want to call it, or believe it. Um, because I always believe that this is why I believe we meet each other. There's no coincidence. We meet each other for a reason. We cross path for a reason, and I believe that you are the messenger to deliver this peaceful message for me and my listeners today. So thank you so much again for taking your time out. Is there anything that you really want to talk about? Perhaps I didn't ask you or didn't let you.
Um, well, we are at a I think it's chaotic stage in our human evolution at the moment. There's a lot of um, chaos going on out there, and it is a reminder, as I said earlier, just to come back to self love and self care with all the chaos that is happening right now and is going to happen, because I have my eyes on what's happening in culture and in America and Europe and all over the world. There's a lot going on in terms of these the truth movement that is coming out, and for people who are feeling that, or they're watching this at a later date and there's even more crazy things have happened, then it's a time to come back to self love and self care, and a time of forgiving those who we need to forgive from our past, from anyone that needs to be forgiven in our lives, whether it be uh, government, corporations, or eh, you know, mother, father, brother, sister, l- former lover, all of them, and come back to forgiveness. Um, and yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to you and your listeners. And yeah, I'd love to stay in touch to see how that um, intention goes with your soulmate being called in.
Oh my god, yes. I would love to let you know soon. So we always end our show with final five rapid fire questions, and every question has to be answered in either one word or one sentence maximum. Are you ready?
I'll do my best.
Okay. The first question is, what is one thing you wish you knew earlier?
Probably to have more patience.
Beautiful. Second question, if you could live your life all over again, what would you do differently?
Nothing.
Love it. Third question, what is something you're trying to learn or curious about right now?
Mm, fitness and outdoor fitness specifically.
Wow, okay. And the next question, I believe you already answered it, so I'm going to change this question to something else. What is the worst relationship advice that you have ever received?
Hmm. So no, I'm not very good at remembering the worst advice. I as my it was just watching my parents argue, you know, incessantly for 7 years. So that essentially was advice, because I watched them. So I was like, I don't want to experience that. So
Yeah,
yeah, it would be that.
yeah, that is true. Thank you so much. The last question is, what brings you joy?
Service and conversations like this with open-hearted people.
Beautiful. Thank you so much again for being here and taking your time out. I'm sure a lot of people they want to get to know you more, even work with you. Where can people find you?
Well, for people listening and they want to know a bit more about this True Divine Self and also my book and the magazine, I've put together a bunch of gifts for your listeners. So if you go to www.steve.gifts, that's the whole domain, steve.gifts. You just sign up with your email, and then you'll get like 4 issues of my magazine and the True Divine Self map, and then half of my book for free. So, well, audiobook. So yeah, it's a good chance for your listeners to uh, discover a little bit more about what I'm doing.
That is very generous of you. Thank you so much for the gift. Yes. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, I will put all the links in the show note below. Make sure you go check it out. Go follow Steve. Go to his website. He has a podcast as well. Listen to his podcast, download his magazine, get his book and everything, like all the amazing things that he is doing. And to learn about what I do and connect with me, you can follow me on Instagram at joyan.chan or visit my website joyanchan.com. And we release new episode every Wednesday. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And I will always leave you the same way as I leave you with every other episode. Show up. The world needs you. You need you. Thanks for listening, and I wish you all a joyful and amazing day ahead. Thank you again for tuning to Find Joy with Joyan podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can help support this podcast in one of three ways. 1. Take a screenshot of this episode and share it on your IG story and tag me at findjoyjoyan_podcast so I can repost and connect with you. 2. Share this podcast with a friend or a family member. And 3. Leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts so we can continue to grow and reach more listeners worldwide. Make sure you also subscribe so you don't miss out on any episode coming Wednesday. Thanks for being here, and I will see you soon in the next episode.